To look back and think about where I started in the beginning and how I truly became successful. The big thing is, and it's what we're going to talk about, being consistent, jumping in, doing things, always bringing value. That's important. But people that quit before they get there, they're never going to get it. If you stick with this long enough and you bring great value each and every day, try to get 1% better in every video, that's how you improve, that's how you grow, and that's how you can make a ton of money in YouTube.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are and wherever you're watching from. My name is Matt Pierce, host of the Visual Lounge, and today I am so freaking excited. Oh my gosh, this is going to be awesome. So, I think we're almost to episode 200 of the show. We're getting there inch by inch, but let me tell you, I very rarely am like so excited because there's someone that I've heard about over the years that I get to talk to and just has an amazing story. So we're not even going to waste time with all the intro crap today. We're going to jump in and let me go ahead and introduce you to our guest, Roger Wakefield, because he's got an amazing story of, he's a plumber or was a plumber. And now he's a creator and he teaches people and it's awesome. So let's go ahead and get through his bio here. Roger Wakefield is a Texas master plumber and inspiring entrepreneur with over 40 years of plumbing expertise and every Texas state endorsement. As a successful YouTube content creator, speaker, and trainer, Roger not only shares valuable insights for aspiring plumbers and other tradespeople, but also empowers entrepreneurs to venture into social media marketing to grow their own businesses and make their phone ring. He is the most viewed plumber on YouTube and is passionate about all things trades. Roger strives to create awareness and provide access to proven techniques, mindset skills, and action items to help individuals get into any of the trades, advance in their careers to make the most money, learn the things they need to know to start their own businesses, and how to start networking and using social media to make their phone ring, all of which can be life-changing. There's a whole bunch more we could say about Roger because he's awesome, but let's hear from the man himself. Please welcome Roger Wakefield to the Visual Lounge. Roger.
Matt, I need you to go with me everywhere and introduce me. Oh my God, that was amazing.
I would love to be your hype man. So I just, look, full disclosure here, I grew up in a household. My dad's a tool and die maker by his profession, what he did. He's always been tinkering, building things. He's a guy I look up to that he can do almost anything. So, I come through that kind of lens and I can't hardly do anything. So I look to people like you and just say, man, you're amazing. But what I love is your journey. And we're going to get to that in a second. So I've got a question first that we're going to get out of the way. So you didn't start obviously 40 years in plumbing. That's very different than video creation. And you've become the most viewed plumber on YouTube, which is incredible. So thinking about an audience of people who are creating content about their thing that they're passionate about or that they know about, what's one tip you'd give to our audience to help them improve using video in the work that they're doing?
Well, you use the word right there, improve. And from the very beginning, and I was in here a while ago shooting a video, we're going to reach 100 million views in just the next day or two.
Wow.
So we're shooting that video, it's a thank you video, but we'd set out a goal from the very beginning. What do we have to do to get better in each and every video? Can we get 1% better? Can we get 5% better? What can we do? And we literally made it part of our mantra from the beginning, get 1% video better in every single video you do. And if you can't get better, don't do it. And it works. It really, really works.
Yeah, I love this because this is definitely advice that we've heard over and over again. And I think it's just true, right? Because that is the secret to all of this.
We just in shooting this video today, we went back and looked at the very first video, and like even our 9th video, we messed up the lights. And the only comment in that entire video is me saying, "Hey guys, look, we messed up. Don't know what the problem is with the lights, but we'll fix it next time." Yeah. And it's got 100 and something views, which isn't anything. We looked at our original thumbnails, but also along that journey, you can see the evolution and the change. And that's what people have got to be willing to do. They've got to be willing to try to improve and not quit, because so many people quit before they gave it a chance to get really, really good. And that breaks my heart. It really does.
Yeah, for sure. Because, yeah, it's in the quitting where you just never know when the breakthrough is going to happen. So, Roger, what I want to talk about in your story, because it is really interesting to see someone, I mean, not that it particularly because you're a tradesperson, but like to see that journey from something so different to do to what you're doing now. There's really, it feels like a big pivot, and maybe it is, but like, let's go back. How did you get started with this idea of using video to enhance your business and grow what you're doing?
Well, it's just like every other tradesperson. We're hiring marketing companies. We're giving our business to another company and saying, here, make me grow up, make me grow big, make me grow strong. And you just hand it to them because it's stuff that we know nothing about. Matt, we had spent $47,000 and it made our phone stop ringing.
Oof.
And for any business, that will kill a business. And I remember being at a trades conference and I'm going up the escalator. My phone goes off. And it's the first time it went off all day. I'm like, wow. And it was my office manager. And she says, our phones have stopped ringing. So I tried reaching out to the marketing company that had just changed everything around. They weren't answering me. They ghosted me. I did not talk to them for a week. I had to call an old company to get everything back up where it was. And it was crazy to go through. And when you're a trades business and you're supporting other families, you've got to look at what do I have to do to make the phone ring? So I decided I wanted to learn social media. I did research. I found out about Michael Stelzner, found out about social media marketing world. And I'm thinking, this would be interesting. I'm on the treadmill one morning and Gary Vee walks across stage at some college and he's got his phone in his hand. And he said, he says, I don't, and I'll change the words, of course. He says, I don't care if you're 20, if you're 50 or 70, you can do this. And Matt, I almost fell off the treadmill. I literally stopped. I moved my feet to the end. I rewound my iPad because think about this. I'm on YouTube watching Gary Vee. I backed it up and heard it again. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to that conference. And I go in this conference. And when I walk in the first day, I'm from Dallas. It's in San Diego. I'm 2 hours early. The doors are locked. So I go eat and come back. Well, now the doors are unlocked, but they're still not open. But I walked up to the counter and said, hey, I know I'm early. Can I go ahead and register? I've never been here. So the young lady says, yeah. And man, she gets me all registered. And she looks down at her pad and she says, hey, you're a plumber. I'm going to find some other plumbers for you to hang out with. And she stopped. She said, look, there's no other plumbers here. Who else would you hang out with? I said, electricians, HVAC techs, roofers, residential service industry people. She scrolls down her list and she says, look, there's nobody here like you. I don't know who you're going to hang out with. And I just smiled and I said, you know what? Don't you worry about me. I'll be fine. And Matt, literally what's going through my mind is why aren't there any residential service providers here? So I'm there to learn YouTube. I'm there to learn social media. So I'm thinking that's Facebook. The second day there, I'm walking down the corridor and I see a placard out in front of a room. It says, get in front of your customers using video. I go sit on the front row. Daryl Eves walks out and he starts talking and he says, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Well, number one, I'd never heard of Daryl Eves, and I had made a lot of commercial type videos we stored them on YouTube. So I shut my notebook and I turn around and I get up, or I turn around and grab my chair and I'm going to stand up and I look behind me and the back of the room is standing room only. So I turned back around and looked up in time to hear him say, and it's owned by Google, the largest search engine in the world. And I'm quick. And I was like, wow, we're spending so much money on Google, but we're not spending any money on YouTube. Why not? And over the next 45 minutes, I took about 3 pages of notes on the way home. And that Saturday and that Sunday, I worked on an implementation plan. And Monday morning, when we opened the business, plumbing happened. We got busy. It got crazy. But finally, we got all the plumbers out. I called everybody else together and said, we're changing the way we do our marketing and we're changing it now. And that's when we started learning how to do YouTube.
Wow. I mean, just crazy, right? Some serendipity in there and some interesting insights that you were able to pick up on. And the fact that, honestly, the fact that you're watching Gary Vee on your treadmill is also says something, right? Like about who you are But I've got to imagine, like, as a business owner, that's a big deal to go to your team and say, we're changing it based on something I heard at this event, and then to do it. And so what were some of the concerns or challenges that you faced up front as you shifted your model to be more, and I'm sure it wasn't like an overnight only video, but you started shifting to that video model. What were the things that were like giving you heartburn and keeping you up at night?
Well, number one, I knew nothing about YouTube. I just knew, man, we're fixing to start doing YouTube. I didn't know anything about it. We didn't even know how to make videos. Luckily, I had my stepson working for me at the time, Will. And when I said that, he jumped on YouTube, started figuring out how to do YouTube. We started looking at, do we need equipment? What all do we need? And it's funny because I'm going through my YouTube channel earlier, the videos. And in the beginning, we shot videos. We were using Google Hangouts. And I'd go in extra early because I didn't have any subscribers. Will, my videographer, was subscriber number 3. And literally, it's like, okay, we're going to make videos. We do a little research. It's like, we'll jump in Google Hangouts. You can go live and record it and post it. So it's like, there we go. Now we're making videos. And the first time I hired a YouTube coach as a consultant, they said, yeah, quit doing what you're doing. You need to buy some equipment. Start doing things in a better way. And I remember in the beginning, I'm using the camera on the laptop, and I'm just pushing the laptop further away to try to get myself framed up the way I want it. We had a lot to learn, but we did.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, I actually was looking just before you called, I was looking at some of your older videos and can see that progression. As you started going through this journey, what was the point where you said, hey, there's something different now? Like, because obviously there's a lot to learn in the beginning. You can see it. The quality of videos you're making now versus then, of course, after 5-6 years, it's going to change. But was there a point where you said, oh man, we're really onto something here. Something's changed. And obviously then that just fuels lots of other change. But was it that moment, or is it still just that slow grind and you're still kind of waiting for that feeling of like, hey, we're onto something?
The slow grind is more of what it's like. Mm-hmm. But then we did hit that point, and I didn't even realize it until I listened to the video a while ago. When we hit 100,000 subs, I ordered my silver play button immediately.
Yeah.
And it came in about 2 weeks, maybe 3. And in the video where we were having our 100K celebration, I said, hey, we ordered this when we hit 100,000, yet we're already up to 150,000 now.
Wow.
So that first 100,000 took a year and a half or so. The next 50,000 took a couple of weeks. Now, we don't grow at that rate anymore. It varies. It's a roller coaster. But hiring a coach, hiring a consultant, hiring somebody to teach you, if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, I tell people all the time, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But if you know where you're going, you need a map. Or if you know where you want to go, you need a map. Not knowing what we're doing just made it tough, but we were getting in, trying every day. And look, hats off to Will and Grayson, my original editor. Learning to do things right was just something that we decided we're going to do. And it's funny, Matt, I still go to conferences. Now I normally get asked to speak at conferences, but I'm on the front row. I'm taking notes at every conference that I'm at, whether it's trades, whether it's social media, whether it's speakers. I want to learn to be the best at whatever I'm doing. And if I can pick up one nugget anywhere and learn from it and grow, to me, it's well worth it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that learner mentality, right? That there's always more out there for you. And I've got to imagine that somewhat comes from being in the trades, right? Because, I've been in enough situations where I realize that anytime I bring in a professional to do something, there's always a surprise. Like, you just never know what's underneath that sink or what's in the drain, or you'll appreciate this. I had a house and we kept getting backup issues, and it was because there was this Orangeburg, which is like a corrugated, almost like corrugated, you know what it is, but for those listening, like kind of like almost like corrugated cardboard tubing, and they had replaced part of a drain with Orangeburg. which had gotten deformed over time. So you just never know, right? So I do you think there's something that has given you a unique kind of ability, or is it just your tenacity? What do you think has driven you to be as successful as you are?
I think the thing is when I was in school, I was an average student. I've always had a very high IQ. I always had the ability to do whatever I wanted to do. And I think I learned it when I was younger. My dad, he'd take us outside to work on a car. Dad didn't just say, "Hey, do you want to come out and help me work on the car?" It was, "Hey, get your shoes on. Let's go. We got something to do." And we'd change the brakes, the alternator, the starter, the radiator. I mean, it literally didn't matter, but I was always there to help. And the neat thing about it is you start learning, look, I can fix anything. And doing that is kind of how I look at life now. When I've got a problem, it's like, okay, what do I have to do to fix this? And I started hiring motivational coaches and things like that. I remember hiring Michael Gerber. He wrote the E-Myth books. And when we started our company, I hired him and he consulted with us for like 6 months. And it was amazing. And I'm like, man, I can learn from people and then I can do amazing things. And I think getting that mindset, and not all of us have it, but I think that if we can tell people or beat it in their heads or whatever we need to do, hey, you understand if you'll learn something new, you can do something new.
Yeah.
And once I started realizing that, Matt, I'm a nonstop learner now. I am constantly either reading or listening or learning or just trying something new. I mean, we just started a podcast, God, 5 or 6 months ago, and we've already had 1,000 subs on our other YouTube channel now.
Wow. So Roger, let's break down a little bit, because we're a show that we talk about using images and video. Let's talk a little bit about video. And I'm curious for you, because you have gone through this journey. If you could describe for us, like for you, what makes a good video for your channel? Now, I want to be clear. I know that's not for everybody. Like everybody's channel should reflect them and what they do. But for you, how do you know if like a video, like, yeah, this is a good video?
Well, I'll tell you what, let me turn it around. Let me play it just the opposite. My highest performing videos got almost 5 million views.
Whew.
And literally the day Will, who I told you about a while ago, the day he edited it, because in the beginning it was just me and him. We'd talk about shooting something, we'd set it up, we'd shoot it, he'd go edit it, he'd post it, he'd do all that. The most popular video that we've got, we shot about 4 years ago. And I remember the day we shot it, I had taken a toilet and cut the back out of it so I could show people the inside of it. And we had put it right in front of a black curtain. And I had on an orange shirt and green gloves. And I'm in here working, showing people how to stop their toilet from running, guaranteed. And I thought it was good because, I mean, I'd pull the tool out, I'd take apart a piece. I had the back of the toilet open so they could see me do it. And when we finished that day, Will posted that video. I don't know if it was that day or the next morning, but we posted that video and he walked in my office and he said, "Look, that video's horrible." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Look, it wasn't exciting. It wasn't fun." He said, "Look, you just showed people how to fix a problem." He says, "I'm just telling you, that video's horrible. We can't do that again." I said, "Okay." And I said, "So what made it so horrible?" He said, well, look, we got a black curtain. Got a toilet right in front of it. You're just standing there talking. It's not going to do good." I said, "Okay." And it did not do good for a long time. Now, every single month, that is my most popular viewed video. So as much as I want to tell you, oh my God, I know how to make a perfect video every time. And we have got better along the way. But I mean, we know, look, start with a good hook. Keep it exciting. Keep your energy level up. Do things like this. But the number one thing, if you want to make a great video, bring value. And I think looking back to that video and just talking to you, Matt, I think that's what it is. That video, literally, if your toilet's running, that video shows you how to fix it. Plain and simple. It's not fancy. There's not a lot of smoke and mirrors. Plain and simple. Now, I did cut out the back of the toilet so you can see it. But I mean, That's what it's about. Bring value to people. And there are people out there right now, their toilet's running, and they go to YouTube and search how to stop a running toilet. And guess what? Roger in an orange shirt and green gloves pops up, and they're like, okay, I'll watch this. I think that's it. Bring value every single time.
Yeah, man, I love that. That's such a great answer, because I do think, like my experience, especially if I've got a problem, right? I've watched a lot of videos that did not solve the problem, or they were so hard to follow and understand. I couldn't see what to do. And so I think you're hitting on something that's really, really special there, because yeah, people want their problem solved. They want to bring that value, whether it's solving a problem or whether it's you're keeping me engaged and entertained. I'm learning something, whatever it might be. Those are just powerful things. So I appreciate that. So Roger, you mentioned your team a little bit. Obviously, you haven't done this alone. Currently, now that you've progressed, what does your team look like? I mean, you got a couple of people shooting videos, editing. What's the breakdown?
I've got a total of 8 people on my marketing team. I've got 3 people. I've got one that works on my podcast, video and editing and publishing it and the whole 9 yards. Also helping me bring people in, because what we do is we invite people in for the podcast. I love the live. I just, that's the way I want to do it. So we did, which is great, because we talked about me driving around the country and going to all these people, and it's like, look at what, I'll never get any work done. So we bring people in. It's a lot easier. I've got another videographer and editor. I've got another kind of a pre-editor and digital graphics person that is just phenomenal. So I've got 3 people there. Then I've got a content creator that helps with shorts and posts on all the social platforms, because we're everywhere. I mean, we're bigger on TikTok than we are on YouTube. Wow. And sometimes we shoot shorts, sometimes we cut shorts out of long form content. Then I've got Elizabeth, who helps me with my courses, my coaching, my training, everything like that, helping me put everything together. And it's just phenomenal. But then I've got Amber, who's my assistant, who helps make sure my calendar works and I'm where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be. And then I brought my son in. We acquired a company at the beginning of the year called Leak Pro, which is plumbing leak detection equipment. We manufacture it. Now at the barn, we built a training center for it. And he was also in the trade. So he comes in and helps a lot with content creation, but he also runs the Leak Pro side of it to make it all work. So between Brett, Alex, Colton, and Steven and Elizabeth and Amber and Randy, they keep me right where I'm supposed to be. And that's hard to do.
I love that. But I think it's a really interesting illustration, right? That as a content creator, and you shared this with us at Vid Summit, that you're actually not doing the plumbing business anymore, but you're focusing on this training business and your content creation. But it shows like it really is. It's this kind of expanding opportunities, because there are so many things that need to be done that it could be. I imagine if it was just you, it would be very difficult to do all of that stuff.
No, Matt, it would be impossible.
Yes.
And it would. And it was so neat to get to talk to you and your team there at Vid Summit, because look, I've been doing this a while, and we've changed along the ways. And in the beginning, it was just Will and I, and Will was doing everything. Will was the content idea person. He was the videographer behind the camera. He was the editor, videographer, cutting everything and posting it and learning YouTube and making everything happen. And then we brought in another editor so we could grow, and Will could help with content creation and social media posts and things like that. And it's constantly been an evolution. We grow, some more people come in, some more people leave, some more people come in. And it continuously changes. But I could never do this all by myself, even from the very beginning. Without Will, I wouldn't even have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome, and congratulations to you and all the team for being able to put out so much great content. And because I know it's hard. So we're gonna get to our speed round questions here in just a second. I've got one more question for you, Roger. That you've obviously achieved a certain level of success across social media. As you said, TikTok, it's bigger than what YouTube, and YouTube is pretty substantial. At this point, as a creator, What do you think is the hardest part? Is it new ideas? Is it just keeping up with everything? Is it trying to bring in other opportunities? Like, what would you say at this point is the hardest thing for you?
You know, when you grow like we are, it's staying focused. I'm continuously bringing in new ideas, new things, new income streams, new opportunities, putting courses together, putting training together. Daryl Eves, I'm working on an app for me through him. And the opportunities are just, if you'd asked me 5 years ago if this is where I'd be, I'd have said, no way. If you would have told me 5 years ago, Roger, this is where you're going to be the week before Thanksgiving, 2023, I'd have said, you're nuts. I said, Matt, there's no way. This will never happen. There's no way it could happen. One thing that I've learned is keep your eyes open because opportunities do come. But I was listening to Alex Hermosi, God, I think it was this morning, somebody sent me a video and it's like, look, these multi-million-dollar companies have all the opportunities in the world, but the smartest thing they do is say no to some of them because we need to stay focused on what we're doing. And right now, I'm very clear. I'm very focused. I know what we're building. I know how we're building it. We've got video lists of what we need to do to build it. And that part is huge. That part is huge.
Yeah, I love that because it is often tempting to go after everything and you cannot do everything. And so that power of no is really, really powerful, right? It does make a difference. So.
It is the part that I love about this is being able to work with the people I work with outside. We've got amazing sponsorships and we get sponsorship opportunities all the time. And even those, you got to know, well, which one really fits in our wheelhouse, which one doesn't. And we've turned down some really substantial sponsorship opportunities, but it just wasn't right for what we were doing. So I love it. I love the companies we get to deal with each and every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Roger, we're going to go into what we call our speed round questions that are meant to be fast, quick answers determined by the roll of a die. So let's go ahead and go into our speed round. All right, Roger, you don't seem like a guy that has played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, but this is where this die comes from. So we're going to roll the die here on camera, and we got a couple questions we're going to ask. So the first one, in the glare, but that is a 3, even though it's hard to see. Question number 3. Okay, you had mentioned this, right? If 5 years ago you would have told yourself, like, hey, this is where you're going to be. If you could give a piece of advice to yourself, a younger version of Roger, maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, what would you say to that younger Roger?
Go all in on social media. Go all in on YouTube. 15 years ago, go in on YouTube, learn it, learn everything you can about it. Get good at video, learn video. Matt, when I first started, I had no idea I'd be the guy in front of the camera. That literally blows my mind. But if I could go talk to me 10, 15 years ago, look, guys, this is going to be a big deal. Start thinking about it now. Start looking at it. And as something comes along, learn it, get good at it, and start training the right people to help you do it.
Yeah, love that answer. And it's great. So let's go on to our next question. Roll the die again. And that is a line underneath it. So that is a 6. So, Roger, and this does not have to be about video. So share a piece of advice you've received that's had a lasting impact on you. What's something that's, advice someone gave you or you picked up that just made a difference in your life?
I think listening to Jim Rohn has completely changed my mindset in the way that I learn things. But one thing he talked about, he said every morning he used to get up and watch the news, bad stuff going in, and he'd go to work and try to expect good stuff to come out. And the analogy he gave is it's like baking a cake. Once you put the concrete mix in, you're not getting anything good out. I listen to motivational stuff on the way in. I listen to it during the day. I still listen to country music. You've got to enjoy it. You play the song backwards, you get your wife back, your kids back, your money back, your dog back. You get all that. But that's what I was listening to and watching news. Now I listen to stuff to motivate me and make me think and get me looking ahead. What can I do better? And I think that's a big deal for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Roger, we got one more question. So here we go. Last die roll. Let's see if we get something lucky. Oh, lucky, so lucky. We got the 6 again, so we get another extra roll. Oh, and we're going to go to 1. And I'm going to warn you. Number 1 is, some people have said this is a really hard question for them. I'm going to ask it as is, and then I'll modify it for you a little bit. But it says, if you could have dinner with anybody in history, who would it be and why? I'm gonna say it doesn't even have to be history. It could be, you could have dinner with anyone. Who would you want to eat with?
Jesus Christ. I'll make that easy. It's, and I don't study the Bible. I don't go to church regularly. I'm Christian. I believe in it. But that's just one that, man, it would just be so neat to just get to talk to him and ask questions. So I know that's probably an easy cop-out, but man, that's the first thing popped into my mind. That would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Roger, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we end the show, if people wanted to connect with you, they want to learn more from you, they want to watch some of your content, where should they go?
Well, the best thing to do is go to rogerwakefield.com. It's where we have everything. You can find out about our courses. You can find out about social media, about the trades, about speaking. We talk about all of it. But go there if you would just want to watch my videos. And I tell people this all the time, and I want you to think about what I've done, guys. Go to YouTube, but don't search my name. Search plumbing. Just search plumbing. And then scroll down, look for the mustache. But when you see it, the mustache, or you see my name, now you've got to subscribe to the channel so you don't mess up the algorithm. But that's the easiest way to find me. Search plumbing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say I was reading some of the comments in your YouTube channel as I was watching videos, and the comments, so many comments about the gloriousness of the mustache. So good on you to turn it into your brand.
Yeah, and it is. It's part of our logo. It's part of our brand. As a plumber, I've got a 28-page brand book, and it talks about what we're not about, what colors we wear, what colors we don't wear, everything about me. And it's a true brand book. And the funny thing is, yeah, the mustache is discussed.
Well, maybe sometime I'll ask you more questions about it, or we'll give it an episode on the podcast.
There you go.
Well, Roger, before we wrap up, we always ask our guests to give us their final take, last thoughts about what we've talked about today. So, Roger Wakefield, what is your final take?
To look back and think about where I started in the beginning and how I truly became successful. The big thing is, and it's what we're going to talk about, being consistent, jumping in, doing things, always bringing value. That's important. But people that quit before they get there, they're never going to get it. If you stick with this long enough and you bring great value each and every day, try to get 1% better in every video, that's how you improve, that's how you grow, and that's how you can make a ton of money in YouTube.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Roger, once again for joining me.
Matt, thank you. This has been a pleasure. And look, I love you, love your team. Y'all are doing great things. Thank you all for everything y'all do.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, go check out Roger. Go search for plumbing in YouTube. And then once you find his video, make sure you subscribe. But you can see, look at what an incredible journey he's been on. Look at how he's grown. He's continued to adapt. And that's the name of the game. Adapt, learn, grow, try. And, we're big fans of it here about talking about leveling up. And we don't just mean that as a fancy phrase at the end of every podcast. We mean it for real, that you can really make a difference in your videos, in your life, in your life of your audience by just providing great value and just continuing to get a little bit better every single day. And of course, look, if you want to make it a little bit easier for you to hear these great messages from Roger, from all the other great guests we've had on, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. You can email us with comments, thoughts, questions at The Visual Lounge at techsmith.com. We'd love to hear from you and what you're thinking about and how we can make a better show. So with that said, you know what's going to come. It's coming every time at the end of every show. Take a little time to level up every single day. Thanks, everybody.